Hey guys, welcome back to the Espresso Outlet YouTube channel, and today we're going to continue on with unboxing this Breville Barista Express. Now we have all the Breville products that we're going to be doing an unboxing on, so make sure to check back if we haven't done your machine that you're interested in yet, because we will be reviewing all of them. Also, this is just an unboxing video, so make sure to check back for the full review of all these products. But today, let's get going with this Breville Barista Express. I would say this is probably one of the most purchased Breville products out there. I could be wrong, but I just feel like I see so many of them. It has the built-in grinder. It has just so many options that are fantastic for the price. So with all that said, let's get set up to pull this machine out of the box. Okay, so when you open up the top of your box, you'll be presented with some of these accessories. Not all of them are on the top of the box, but we'll just start going through all of these. A few of them, they will be tucked in with the espresso machine itself. So let's just go through all the accessories that come with it. This is a fairly turnkey machine. So this machine has a built-in grinder, it's an espresso machine, and it comes with pretty much everything that you need to make a really good cup of espresso or a latte. So to get started, we have our quick start guide. It does have some information about water quality, how to set up your water filter, how to dose your portafilter, and so on. So if this is your first espresso machine, it's a really good guide to help you get going, but there's a lot more content online that might be a little bit easier to follow. So just know that. We have our 54 millimeter portafilter, and out of the box this comes with a non-pressurized double basket, and this is probably going to be the one that you use the most. We'll go over a little bit more of that here in a second. This is 54 millimeters, so if you are looking for aftermarket accessories such as a different tamper and so on, make sure that you're buying it for 54 millimeter Breville. Okay, so while we're talking about the portafilter, let's just look at some of these additional baskets that come with it. And it comes with a total of 4 baskets. I mentioned this is the non-pressurized double basket, but it also has a non-pressurized single basket. So if this is something that you're wanting to do a smaller shot and just do single shots, a little less caffeine, you do have this option. I do find these to be a little bit more difficult to use. So I would probably focus on my non-pressurized double if it were me personally. Now there is something that Breville has pretty much always included in this style of machine, and it is pressurized baskets, and it comes with 2 of them. It comes with a double as well as a single, similar to the non-pressurized. Now, why would you use a pressurized basket? Well, if you didn't have a built-in espresso grinder, and maybe you're buying some store-bought coffee, you're not going to have the grinder at your house that you can dial in. So you're going to rely on the small holes in the bottom of this basket to provide the pressure on that puck that you're not going to get if you're not grinding fine enough. So it's kind of a crutch. If you're trying to figure this out and you're struggling, maybe getting some spraying shots out of this, you might try one of these, but again, I would probably just avoid these altogether. Know that it comes with all 4. Next, we have our milk pitcher. It is a high quality stainless steel milk pitcher. I've always felt like they provided a very nice pitcher. It didn't really have maybe the fanciest spout, but I mean, it's a fantastic pitcher. So I have no complaints about the pitcher, and it's probably the last one that you will ever need. They do tuck in some items throughout various other items. So in this, they also have a descale packet. So when your machine is ready to descale, put this in a drawer. You're going to have it ready for your first descale. Now, if you're using a good quality water, you shouldn't have to descale that often. Make sure to hang on to this though. Okay, I mentioned it is fairly turnkey, so we have our cleaning supplies, and this isn't really just everything that you're gonna need, but it's going to be enough to get you going for sure. So it comes with an Allen key just for some basic maintenance. It comes with a coffee scoop, as well as this little tool that it actually fits up into your steam wand. So if you get milk stuck in the steam tip, you can actually kind of push that stuck milk through. So that's really handy to hang on to, as well as a stiff bristled brush. And this is good for cleaning the group head, cleaning various things. So I always have one hanging around. Additionally, they have some cleaning tablets. So this is for your portafilter. I can demonstrate it here in a second with our next piece, but it is some cleaning tablets to clean out the inside of your group head. Again, something that you're just gonna wanna stick in a drawer. You're not gonna use these very often, but it comes with 2. The next item is a back flush blind, and it's just a simple piece of silicone. And you'll notice if we take our portafilter and just push the silicone in, it's going to prevent any water from going through the portafilter. So when we turn on the machine and it builds pressure on top of this, when we turn the machine off, it actually has water go through a three-way valve, and it's going to flush the inside of your machine. Now, if you needed to, it does have these detergent tablets, so you could put one of these detergent tablets on top. You're gonna run it a few times. There's videos out there on it. We'll be doing some content on how to backflush your machine, but it does come with pretty much everything you need to get your machine going and running for quite a few years. So the next portion is not really an accessory, but it is something that you will want to utilize. It is your water filter system. So again, this is not a true water softener. This is just truly a water filter, but it does come with a filter pod. There is some information inside your user manual for how to wet this and get it set up. And it simply just goes in and plugs into your water tank. Now, I do recommend don't be using like distilled water, it's not hard enough, but also don't be using tap water because it's most likely too hard. So have a good quality water and have it softened and remineralized, as that's going to give you the best quality of coffee, as well as it's going to keep your machine running for the long haul. So just know that this isn't really a water softener, but it does come with it and it's a really good thing to install. Now, built into the top, there is a little dial for each month of the year. And this will tell you when you need to change it. So you just set it, and I have it set on 6. So I know I need to change it on when it's the month 6. So just a way to keep track of when did you change this last and how old this is. Something that I've noticed in several Breville products is something they call the razor. It's actually a dosing card. We're not going to go into that. I think it's kind of a goofy tool, but it does come with the machine. So it does come with a standard 54 millimeter tamper. It's just kind of an introductory tamper. I've never found it to be a bad tamper. It's just maybe not as big and heavy as some of the 58s that I'm used to, but it is a nice tamper, and I'm going to show you how it integrates into the machine for a nice storage. So it does a nice job of tamping, and it does have a nice storage device in the machine. We'll go over that here in a minute. Tucked inside the water tank is something new. We'll again go over this in a second, but it is a dosing collar that fits on top of your portafilter. So this is gonna make less mess when you're grinding into the portafilter. If you didn't have this, you have the potential for grounds to fall out. You can still do it, but they are now including this nice dosing collar. Okay, so we went ahead and pulled this out of the box and took off all the protective wrap, just so that you wouldn't have to watch that in the video. Sometimes these get a little bit long. We have filled up our water reservoir with some water in the back. It has a nice design where you can take it off, fill it up underneath your sink, if you have softened water underneath your sink. And you can also just kind of tilt it back and fill it up with a water pitcher. So it's kind of a dual design where you don't have to take the tank completely off to fill it. And I've noticed Breville's products, they're starting to do more of that. So to continue on with the setup, we have our hopper over here, and I want to show you when you have it, it has this locking mechanism in the top. So when you rotate it, what it does is it actually is a bean shutoff, but it also locks into the grinder port itself. So we're going to have it in that unlocked position, place it into the grinder, and when we click the lock, it's going to open up that chute, and it's also going to lock that hopper in place. We do have this lid. It's kind of a clear lid with a rubberized outer edge, so it's a very nice looking lid. It allows you to see how many coffee beans are in your grinder from the edge or from the top. So you can see on the portafilter that there's 3 tabs, and this rear tab actually pushes a button to trigger the grinder. So when we put it into place and push, it triggers the grinder. Now, if you want to cancel mid-grind, you can click it again and it will stop the grind. I mentioned this dosing collar earlier, and what it does is it locks onto the top of your portafilter to make it a little bit taller, and then now it also fits in the same as before. So you can let it run, you can have a mound of espresso grounds on top, and you can give a nice tap, you can do WDT before you do your tamp. So I did mention that there is a tamper storage, which is what's nice about this tamper. Up underneath the power button, there's a small hole with a magnet, and you can store your tamper out of the way. Now, if you went with an aftermarket tamper, you're probably gonna leave this in your machine anyway, but your aftermarket tamper is probably not gonna fit in there. So let's just go through all the functions of this machine. Off to the left, we have a dial setting, and what that does is it changes the setting for your grinder. So it goes from coarse to fine, depending on which way you rotate it. You will have to play with that and dial in your grinder. Next, we have the power button, pretty intuitive. This machine, it is a thermocoil machine, so it takes about 20 to 30 seconds to heat up, which is very fast. You'll notice that this power light blinks, and then when it turns solid, it's ready to go. The next dial over is the ground amount. So this is more or less of a timer. How long is your grinder going to run? So again, you're going to be adjusting grind size as well as grind time. The next, you have your filter size. So if you had a single or a double, it's going to know the difference between the two. Most likely, you're just going to leave it on double. It's a simple click to toggle between the two. In the middle, we have a gauge, and this isn't really like a traditional bar gauge that I would see on a lot of espresso machines. They have the espresso range in the middle. So that's really where you're looking for your pressure to be, as well as just using a timer to understand, am I getting about whatever your brew ratio is. I don't want to give you a specific brew ratio, but is it following your brew ratio and within about 30 or so seconds? So that will help you dial in your ground amount as well as your size. Next, there is a program button. We're not going to go into that today, but it does have some additional features within the machine, as well as two pre-programmable shots. So just because it says single cup and double cup doesn't necessarily mean that it says single or double. It is just 2 times that you can program into your machine. So the last main feature is this knob off to the side. If you tilt it forward, it will be your steam, and it does take a few seconds to heat up. And since it is a thermocoil, you'll want to give it a quick purge. The initial amount is just going to be some water that's in the line, but you let it purge into the drip tray and you will be ready to go. Now, if you tilt it backwards, it's going to make a little bit of a mess, but there's actually a hot water tap right here. So if you're making an Americano, if you're wanting to rinse your portafilter, you do have that hot water tap option. So I don't have a cup beneath it, but you can see how you can fill up your cup or you can rinse your portafilter with ease. One thing that Breville has always done a good job of is to have some spare storage. And when you pull out the drip tray, you'll notice that it pulls out this little tray behind it. And this is really good to put stuff like your spare portafilters in, your cleaning tools. I don't really recommend putting cleaning tablets in there because they're most likely going to get wet. But it is a nice design where even if you were to push it in, once you insert the drip tray, it grabs onto it again and pulls it back out. So it's a really nice design to keep all your odds and ends hidden. So for today, this is the Breville Barista Express. Now, if you have any specific questions about this machine or other Breville products, make sure to leave some comments in the comment sections below so that we can address them when we do a full review on this machine or other machines. But for today, thank you for watching.